And also, when you're talking about your trap pans, you know, if you're looking at it, may be hard to see, but this the ears that come up and hold the dog in, or the pan in place, they're actually kind of angled in a little bit. Let me get that where you can see it. They're angled in versus where you know, the bases are wider. So you've got a little play, side to side play in your trap, in your pan. And also, you know, that can also affect your pan tension, because you got a lot of tension at the top of the pan where the ears come together, but there's a lot of slop at the bottom. And so one way you can mitigate that is to add a washer in between there. And so you can order brass washers, or you can pick them up from a local hardware store. So you just take your nut and your bolt off your pan, pull it out. I don't know if you can see that any better, but the way the ears are, they're kind of squeezed tighter at the top than the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pry them apart just a little bit, and I'm going to put my pan back in here. I'm going to take a washer. Now this is a little bit larger than what I need, but it'll serve the purpose. So I'm going to take a washer and put it in here alongside the pan. Typically, the size washer you're looking for is number 9. Like I said, this washer is a little bit large, but you can see what I'm getting at anyway. So you put your washer in there, put your bolt back through, and put your nut on the other side. And then you're back to where you can adjust your pan tension ever how you need it. And also, you can see, you try to move that pan side to side, and there's no slop, there's no wiggle in that pan. So it's solid, you filled that gap. Another thing you may want to consider doing when you're working in the fur shed, getting your traps ready to set, is adjusting your dog, or not really adjusting it, but clamping it down a little harder. You see, when you got this dog set like it is, you know, this is just straight as it comes from the factory, that thing will wiggle back and forth a good bit. You know, and that can affect you when you're setting your trap. You know, it'd be nice if it was solid and firm and it didn't wiggle much outside of where it's supposed to go up against the pan. So one thing you can do is take a pair of channel locks and just clamp down on that, tighten that down, and take that slop or take that play out of the dog. Take you a big pair of channel locks, and then you adjust it like that, and then you see you try to wiggle that back and forth, and it doesn't go. You know, it stays right where it should be, right where the pan, where it fits into the notch on the pan. Now, one thing you can see is that it's pushed farther than it was, so I can't get the pan to where I need it to be. I can't get the pan down any farther. So one thing you can do there to remedy that is you can take your channel locks and grab a hold to the base of the trap, or this portion here, and just bend it back a little bit. Bend it back on both sides just a little bit. You don't want to get too carried away, but then you can see you can get it where you need it to be to set your trap. And keep that in mind, you know, as you're running your trap line and traps catch things, or traps get stepped on, or traps get thrown around. You know, some of these parts like this right here can get banged or moved or tweaked a little bit to where they're not functioning properly, and so you may need to tweak the frame a little bit, pull it out, push it in to make sure everything works properly. And that's an important part of why it's helpful to go through your traps before trapping season gets here and try to find any of these issues before you're out on the trap line setting traps.